call the meeting to order, I'm still waiting on Mr. Simmer, Commissioner Simmer. Did not hear from here today. I did hear from Commissioner McQueen that he would be late, so I can account for his absence at the moment. So let's give it the full another minute to see if Commissioner Simmer wants. It is 6 o'clock. I will call this special meeting of the Clark County Commission to order. We will do things a little bit differently tonight. We'll have some things that are familiar to you. There will be some things that are not. County Attorney informs me that we can only address what's on the agenda. We have 3 resolutions. They are so ordered or numbered in the way that the clerk's office decided to number them. So we will address that. However, first, I'll have Director Smith come forward and talk about the emergency egress plan in accordance.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, before we do that, I would respectfully request that this agenda be amended. Add public comments immediately after Pledge of Allegiance before addressing those resolutions. You know, the people need an opportunity to at least express. Looks like there's a number of people here, and I think they need an opportunity to express their concerns before you address this question of the override of the veto.
Commissioner Cullen.
We had over an hour's worth of public comments back last month, and then we also had public comments during the meeting. I think we've heard from the public. I think we know what they want for tonight.
Commissioner Lewis.
We will have to speak after the
Second by Commissioner Holden. Discussion. The other commissioner wants to have a discussion on allowing the public to speak after the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I guess we'll vote on this item first. I know it's not in order, but as we said, Commissioner Ken. Well, I would much rather us do the roll call vote to get a quorum presence, and then if we want to entertain this motion, we'll bring it back up at that point in time. So if you allow me to do that, Madam Clerk, call the roll so we can determine the quorum.
excuse me, what did you
This is for our presence.
This is for your presence, Commissioner. So we have a duly constituted quorum. Okay, we have 23 present. 2 absent, as noted. Director Smith, I think you need to do your issue first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the unlikely event that we need to evacuate this building, our primary evacuation route is the south entrance of the building, which is on the monument side, and we would assemble in the parking lot on the east side of the building. The secondary route is the stairs across from the elevator, and again, the assembly point would be in the back parking lot behind the building. We do have an AED downstairs next to the elevator. Hopefully we won't need that tonight. And just for your information, the restrooms are located on the north end of the building on the first and second floor, and the second floor restrooms are handicap accessible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, before we proceed into the prayer and the pledge, we'll go ahead with Mr. Lewis's Motion seconded by Commissioner Holden to allow the public to speak after the Pledge of Allegiance. So Madam Clerk, we need to call. The 13 ayes, 9 noes. So motion passed. So we will have the opportunity for the general public to speak after the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Campbell will lead us in the opening prayer, which are so that we can stand, followed by Commissioner Carroll will lead us in the opening.
Heavenly Father God, Lord, in our heads today, we give you praise and honor for what you've done for us this day. God, give us another opportunity to feed the floor and make another bread. Lord, we know that we're nothing without you. Lord, we know that we can do all things through you who strengthens us today. God, we know, Lord, that your word says that we can look into the hills and come with our help and strength, and know that it only comes from you, Lord. Lord, we do pray, Lord, for this commission. Lord, we pray, God, for each one that's in the audience, Lord. God, tonight we do pray, Lord, for those that are sick within our bodies here tonight, Lord. God, we pray that your brother you quickly up in the Lord, say we, Lord, is sick, God. Lord, we pray, God, that you touch him. And maybe others, Lord, that I don't know about, that you do. Lord, tonight we do pray, Lord, that you lead, God, direct us in what you have us to do. Lord, we pray, God, that your will be done. We ask these things in thy name. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the meeting is now open for public comments. We've set the timer at 5 minutes, as we normally do. You'll need to come forward and tell us your name and your residence. And as soon as you introduce yourself, I will start the timer at 10.
My name is Dora Kinsman. I live in Stony Creek. And I'm addressing this meeting in the Commissioner's comments concerning the proposal of the 11 cents tax increase on the real estate taxes. You were elected to represent the citizens of Carter County. We as homeowners are footing the bill for most of the county. You could target some of this property up and down the highways that the property looks like one of the worst ghetto areas that I've ever encountered. If you target this, you give these people a chance to clean it up. If they don't, you go through the, put the property up for auction, you do it through the courts, and then if they don't pay it, then you put the property up for a tax auction. Reading about money that is not accounted for, should the citizens band together and demand a full audit of all monies, either through the state or the federal government, to make sure everything is up and above board? I'm opposed to the wheel tax because at any win that y'all get, you can raise the wheel tax. If you want a wheel tax, put it on all these vehicles that are sitting around with no tags on them. Some areas have 10 vehicles sitting in the yard, they're not registered, so they're not paying any of the fees that everybody else is doing. I just hope that you would listen to some of us citizens, because we're the ones that is having to foot the bill. And if not, then this county is just going to pot and hellbed in a basket.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Anyone else, please, come forward and identify yourself.
My name is Mark Kessler. I live in Watauga, that's what is Happy Valley, Muscogee. I went through this budget extensively, and there is no validation for tax increase. None. Couple of things, you know, caught my eye. One was the money we had in the debt service. The other was the fund balance and the amount that we had in the CD. Also, the actual spending of each department. And I'm not cutting services. I don't think that's a good thing. Don't believe that is a good thing. But the actual amount spent from what you commissioners had to go from, the actual amount spent versus the amount budgeted was somewhere close to $1.8 million. It's a big difference between what you actually used versus what was actually spent. If you're going to go to a referendum, you're going to have a balanced budget, you have to get your budget items closer than what they are. Thank you for y'all's time. I've talked to some commissioners about it, and I want to thank each one of them for their time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Others? Mr. Livingston, I see you making your way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Roy Livingston, Hampton. There's a lot of people now begin to look at some of these numbers and these budgets. And they don't match what a lot of you commissioners and stuff are doing now. There's monies coming in here from every direction. You got more money coming in than you got going out. Something's happened to this money. A lot of people now begin to look at these budgets and look at them close. We've been on these things for a long time, a few years really, but nobody would listen. We've got all kinds of money, just like the money come off of Cloudland School. There's $12.5 million. Should have come off 2 years ago. It's still on the tax rolls. It's bringing in right now between $1.5 million and $2 million according to the tax rate. How much a penny brings in. We got money coming in every direction. And these monies coming in from $2 to $3 million in years that they start off with a zero balance next year. There ain't no way. You know, the more money we got coming in, the more we go in the holes, what it appears to be. Now, this is all you taxpayers' money out here, and you've started to pay attention a little bit, because the way they're going, the way they've got this thing set up now, they don't look at the total amount of money she got. They just pick a number, they take off with it, and they don't do it like normal people do. They throw it up there and shoot at it when they go to make a budget. Normal people anywhere, you can check with all these entities and surrounding entities, they have from 2 to 3 readings on a budget. Or if they have a discrepancy in, they can fix it after the first reading. If they find something, they can fix it. They've got another reading going, and do a third if they have to. They don't do any of this year. They don't know how much money they got. They just pick them a number, throw it up in the air and shoot at it. And that's what we got in this budget this year. And we've been getting in the prior years too. So you ladies and gentlemen are starting to pay attention now and look at these numbers. And believe me, they don't match the numbers that you guys are fiddling with here. So I think you should pay attention here tonight. When you're starting to work with these numbers, all these people are watching. You ain't gonna have it as easy as you have had it, because there's too many looking at you now. So tonight is when everybody needs to keep their eyes on them and watch what they're doing, because they don't have the numbers that some of you guys have got. And they need to really, I don't think they understand money, to tell you the truth, the biggest part of it. Because I've asked them about some of these big numbers and stuff. They have no idea what you're talking about. They have no idea how much money we got. You can ask them how much we really got over total. Some of them will tell you, probably $15, $20 million. There's one place here that's $150 million a year in and out. And how come nobody don't know it? So what's going on? Why aren't you paying attention to the numbers? They just seem to not care, period. They just throw them up something, shoot at it, give it to us, send us the bill. And I don't think the taxpayers is going to last much longer the way they're operating this thing. And then the school system, I got the paperwork just about 3 weeks ago or so. They were had $1,510,000 short a couple years ago. They said, well, it wasn't gone, said it's just in the wrong place. They pulled from 4 different places and come up with $97,000 and some dollars. Where's the rest of it? We need to find out where some of this money is. It's you all's money, all you taxpayers. But they just act like it's 37 cents and just move on to the next deal, do another deal. And then they holler wheel tax, wheel tax. We need revenue, we need revenue. There's all kinds of revenue here. And I don't understand why they can't find it. Some of us can find it. A whole lot of you guys out there can find it. How come none of you can't find it? Are you looking? You know, if you found it, would you know what you find? But it's just something you just need to pay attention to tonight, all of you. And watch them and see just exactly what they do, because there's no need for a tax raise, period. They could cut taxes and never miss it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Any others wish to address the commission? And
I'd like to speak for just a minute.
Yes, ma'am. Come forward.
Juanita McKinney, live at Watauga. First of all, I want to compliment the commissioners. You all are doing a very strenuous job. You're doing a pretty darn good job of it. If nobody else will tell you that, I will. I was here with you till 1:30 the last meeting, and I commend you for sticking it out and really trying hard. The next thing is, I don't know what they do all the time. We don't have a clue what they suffer behind those doors when they're going and they're trying to figure out stuff. But let me tell you something. You can't cut county services. You can't borrow from Peter to pay Paul for years and not bring it up to county. If you don't have a solid balance, and the taxpayers, we don't need to know all the details. If you want to know all the details, attend the meetings and find out for yourself and weigh it and ask questions, because every one of them will answer your questions. And if they won't answer them, call the Comptroller State of Tennessee. They'll help you fill in the blanks if you really need it put on a first grade level. And some of us do, because 2 and 2 I've always made 4 for some people. The thing of it is that if you want industry in here and you want growth, you have to have a strong foundation. If you're going to go buy a house and you say, well, I only got $50 in the bank, well, do you think they're going to lend you in? No. They want to see what your commitment is to the commitment you're going to make. If you're going to bring industry in here, you better have something to show the industry. Police station, libraries, senior citizen centers. You better have your ducks in a row. If you don't, they're not going to look at you. And if you don't have less arguing, more understanding and listening with your hearts to get it all right, and comprehend. It's not hard. These people, we all got to work together to comprehend. If you don't comprehend, you're not going to go to meetings, and you can shut up and stay home. Thank you.
Others wishing to address? Chance. Okay, seeing none, rise to the occasion or hearing none. Public hearing is now, or public comments now over. Close. Okay. Close. Okay, we have 3 resolutions to consider tonight, beginning with the first one, resolution number 707, which is a resolution to approve a 3-year inter-fund capital outlay note of $500,000 for completion of courthouse security projects. Yes.
Can I ask the Director of Finance what the total cost of calling a special commission meeting is for the taxpayer? Do you have a pretty good estimate of that?
Around $1,200.
Pardon me?
Around $1,200.
1,200?
$2,400.
Well, that's only the commissioner's pay, but you have other attorney here. We have other overhead expenses, and currently it's more than $2,400.
$2,400 just for the commissioner's pay.
Right, but there's other ancillary costs for such a meeting.
You know, that adds to the knowledge base, thank you, but let's return to this resolution, if you would, please. As the county attorney has said, we've got to address these particular items and making sure that our discussion is catered to. So, as you may know, when this came through budget, we would take $100,000 out of the litigation fund, $500,000 out of the interfund capital outlay note, and we would repay that $500,000 back to the debt service at a rate of 2%, which, as we were told at that particular time by Finance Director Burke, that he had checked outside sources and the rate of interest from outside source would be 3.61%. Commissioner Doyle.
I'd like to make a motion that we, I'm not sure how to do this, but let's just say, make the motion that we approve this resolution and override the veto vote.
There is a motion to approve the resolution overriding the veto, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion on this particular resolution? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll to override the veto.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
a yes vote is to override.
Yes,
a no
the
vote.
yes vote is to override, a no vote is to stay with the veto.
Want to clarify, make sure that everybody understands that this is for a resolution.
That is this, yeah, for this resolution, just this one alone.
707.
707. Okay?
This is that? Oh, yours?
Hang on just a minute, we've got a technical difficulty. Okay, I think we're ready now. We've got 12 ayes and 10 noes. County attorney, that does not pass. Okay, the veto stands. Resolution number 711, a resolution fixing the tax levy in Carter County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 through 2019. Commissioner Hill.
Yeah, okay, so this is going to seem pretty freaking strange coming from me, but I'm going to give it a rip here. I put a handout out on the tables, but with the meeting, because we don't know how much everyone loves it when I do that. I've been having a problem with this veto deal and all the presuppositions of what might happen to us if the veto stands, if the comptroller's office comes in for an audit. So on Wednesday, I decided to just call the comptroller's office. A lady named Betty Stanton is the office manager there. I was given her number some years ago by a friend of mine when he took me on a tour of the Capitol. And I called her and told her my dilemma, and that I needed to understand completely what I was bringing around people's ears if the veto stood or if the veto was overturned. If the veto was overturned, we're locking people in with an 11-cent tax rate increase. I believe the Budget Committee did their job. I believe they did it well with the information they were given. But Ms. Stanton actually had a senior auditor for the comptroller's office call me back and answer my questions, and I left a synopsis on the desk here, like I said, but the first 10 minutes of the call, she basically told me that the first thing an auditor was going to ask of this county is why, if we have 200% and more of the resources available to pay the county's credit card bill for the entirety of next year, why would we be pumping 24.5 cents off the ad valorem rate into the general fund of debt service and mandating an 11-cent tax rate increase? And I asked her for clarification, and once this fund, the money goes into the debt service, the only thing we can do with it is to pay debt. Apparently, with some major restrictions, up until that time, all bets are off. And so this lady identified this one point of adjustment on the 24.5 cents. There's $4.9 million in there right now. Our total payments for this fiscal year were $2.3 million. We had the wherewithal to pay like one large chunk of debt off, principal reduction, and save some interest down the road if we had known about this probably. But what do I know? I'm on the landfill and the highway committee, okay? So anyway, if you picture this as the dial on your stereo, if you back 11 cents off of the funding for the general debt service, which we have 2 years worth of credit card payments in the bank right now, apparently, Mr. Burke confirmed that the other day for me. We can also dial 11 cents off of the ad valorem rate. Our appropriations would stay exactly the same. There would be no tax increase for Carter County for this next fiscal year, possibly the following fiscal year. We would still be funding our debt service at a lower level, which we do have ample resources there right now. I believe this is kind. I believe this is fiscally responsible, and I believe this is exceedingly fair. And I would propose that we uphold this veto, bounce this budget back to the budget committee, where they will make this one tiny adjustment, re-advertise, re-wait the statutorial 10 days, have a public hearing, have a regular commission meeting, vote on the thing, and slide under the wire with an NCAA style buzzer beater. This would be my proposal. We wouldn't have to advertise before the 21st if we really want to practice brinksmanship. That would give you the statutory number of days after the regular budget committee to get this in the paper, get this in the media, and then, you know, by God, let's let the public comments roll and vote on it at the end of the deal. So I would like to put that in the form of a motion. And I haven't written this out, but in my mind it works. I would like to, God help me, uphold the veto. Bounce the budget back to the budget committee. Recommend strongly that we make this 11-cent adjustment and then figure out a timely manner in which to advertise this puppy and slide it under the wire. I'm told that the comptroller's office is not intending to come in here until midnight on the 31st of August due to the politically charged nature of this whole veto fiasco. I put that in my flyer. So it seems like we probably have the balance of this month to snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat, to make secret option C selection from two really crummy choices, and to fix this for the citizens of Carter County, this body, this commission. I put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, second, Commissioner Ward. So we stand for discussion. Commissioner Lewis.
I talked to Mr. Commons the other day over the CPAS in a long time, and he's been very doubtful if the control office will come in here and set our tax rate beyond reason. Probably didn't do that one last year. He said he's very doubtful that they won't come in and do that. And he said he wasn't too inclined to be in favor for this.
Thank you. Commissioner Von Cannon.
Mr. Hill,
You can be commended, sir. With 62% of the children in this county on free lunch or modified free lunch, they can afford a tax increase. The parents are the ones that are in trouble, and therefore the children are in trouble. We've got to do something. But what we should not do is to put the burden on the taxpayers of this county. They cannot afford it. And some of them are old. Not that that bothers me any, but some of them are old and they can't afford it. They're on fixed incomes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Carr.
I was just looking at the calendar when Mr. Hill was speaking, and thank you, Mr. Hill. Information about the debt service is one that we've been told to keep our hands off of, but apparently we need to keep our hands on it. If this passes, our meeting is the 13th, because we're changing the debt service, we will have to publicize the budget again, and we will have to have a public hearing. We have time to do that if we move the commission meeting a week. Otherwise, we wouldn't have time to publicize it. If we publicize it by the 14th or 15th, that'll give us to the 25th to give everybody notice. And if we were to change the commission meeting,
amendment to that effect.
excuse me?
I would love to accept a friendly amendment to that motion.
Well, I mean, it may be a second motion. I'm just making sure everybody understands the timeline. 10 days will be the 23rd, but obviously we can't get it publicized before the 14th or 15th. So we probably have to move the commission meeting up. That's all. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew the time frame there.
Commissioner Brown.
Could we do a continuance of this meeting to the commission meeting to waive the fees from this meeting?
I'll let the county attorney speak, because he knows more than I do about the law, but I don't think so.
I don't think you can, but I don't think it's necessary, frankly. I mean, I spoke with Mr. Hill about this. When he learned this information, I kind of looked at the calendar and did a little research myself. I do think it would have to, obviously the commission cannot alter the debt service. It's been tried twice before, and both times we were told not to do it again. So we cannot do it in this body, but if it's sent back to Budget Committee, and the Budget Committee adjusts it, and we re-advertise the budget, publish it, public hearing 10 days before it comes back here, and we have that public hearing before the full commission meeting at its rescheduled date, I think there's time to do all that and vote on that budget, presumably just before the end of the month. It would just require moving the regular meeting this month to the later date.
Does that need to be part of that motion, or should we do that as a separate motion?
But I think we can do it after we dispose of this particular motion, and then we can set up the changes in the calendar at that particular time if there are no objections. Commissioner Lyons.
I'm glad that Commissioner Hill did his due diligence in the last hour that we have. And I would hope that the upcoming year that we would do a quicker due diligence and try to find better ways to manage our budget and get it balanced. And you're just now going back and looking at the debt service, is my understanding, that's what this motion is.
Well, it would not be part of the motion because this commission does not have the authority to change debt service on the floor. It will have to be,
I understand it's going back.
Yeah, we'll go back to budget for
The question that I would ask, is that the only thing they're going to look at when they go back? I don't see why they don't look at other things as well.
Well, that would be up to the budget committee. Hopefully, when we, as Chair Culler already indicated to the group that we have a budget committee meeting on the 13th. Whether you're on the budget committee or not, I would advise each and every one of you to be there, so that you know exactly what's going to be done when we come up, if we're going to move the meeting to the 27th, that we all understand what has occurred. And,
I would just request, duly respectfully request, Mr. Chair and the Chairwoman of the Budget Committee, that you keep open minds about other things that have to be looked at as well.
So noted. Are there any other instructions to the budget committee? I think could be cogent to the discussion.
Essentially, if this motion passes, then the budget veto stands, you have no budget. So a budget committee is going to have to come up with a new proposed budget, publish it, public hearing, public comment, and vote, present it to the full commission and vote, just from scratch. You're not tied to anything that's in the old budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may. So this meeting to respond to the mayor's veto is worth every penny, Mr. Meehan, worth every penny. Appreciate you, Mr. Hill. That's the same type of thing that this mayor has been trying to get the budget committee to do at a number of your workshops. But for whatever reason, you chose not to look at the big picture. The big picture, the trends, Mr. Hill. No, Mr. Hill. The trends. So hopefully, the people that will be returning back next year, there's nothing you can do at this 12 o'clock hour other than what you proposed, Mr. Hill. There is no time, Mr. Lyons, to go back into the budget and do the cuts that needed to be made. But that's what you've got to do next year, and you've got to start before January. So I think this is a great exercise. People are understanding what needs to be done. You've got to look at the big picture. You can't be focused on the little things and lose the vision. Thank you.
I don't believe the mayor ever mentioned anything about debt service during our meetings, only about the fund balance. Thank you.
Are there anybody else want to discuss the motion? Call for the question? Okay, Mr. Von Kennedy, you have.
I'd like to make one comment. Line item by line item on this budget, you see such differences between expenditures and requests. Did the committee question those? If there was a why, an answer, yes. But if there wasn't an answer, it was a loose budget. Therefore, I guarantee you, it wouldn't fly in the world that I'm used to. It would not fly. It's got like a broken wing. Several people in here know that. Ms. Prince knows that. Mr. Tester knows that. That budget was loose. And it needed to be tightened up. And I think we can tighten it up if you go back and review it again.
I'm coming in defense of my committee. We spent 30 hours, we asked lots of questions, and I never saw you but at one of those meetings, Mr. Von Cannon. And only other commissioner that was there was Commissioner Johnson. A few meetings Mr. Ward attended. Nobody else bothered to come and listen to what we were doing.
Mr. Peters.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the work that the budget committee's done in the last year. I've been on the budget committee in prior years. And it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, but you can only work with the information you're given. We don't have access to the finance department. So I feel like the budget committee were working blind. If we knew this, sure, we wouldn't be here tonight, probably. So let's don't put the blame on the budget committee. The blame's on all of us. And I appreciate Mr. Hill taking that step forward and finding out this information. But, like I say, we can only work with what information we're providing. And then people who are provided with very good information.
Mr. Hill? Okay, so please, don't bog this down in a bunch of bullcrap. The definition of a windfall. Pennies from heaven, stroke or piece of luck, God send manna from heaven. Used in a sentence. The inheritance from Uncle Larry was an unexpected windfall. You got one shot at this, and it's super sophisticated. One minor adjustment, leave the appropriations, for God's sakes, where they are this year. It doesn't fix the isms, favoritism, nepotism, any of that stuff, no. But that's for next year, that's for next year, with all due respect. And so one tiny adjustment and slide under the wire, so if we don't slide under the wire, the comptroller comes in and all this is for nothing. Can we call the question, sir?
I want to echo what Mr. Peters said. We wasn't given all the information. You know, you don't make these overnight. This graph that's been proposed has been known quite a while. And the man who came to the meetings and chose not to give us that information, shame on him. Because we were asked at the last meeting, I'm not saying that, we were asked at the last meeting by Mr. Grindstaff, is there any way we can pass this budget without increasing taxes? Did you ask that question, sir?
Yes.
And he said he would make a motion if the mayor would come out and tell us how to solve it. And I said I would second it. So there's some blame for everybody in this process, not just the commission.
Let's not assign one. Let's just go ahead and we've got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. This will go back to the budget committee. I understand from the county attorney, we do not have to deal with the last resolution because it will be all inclusive.
Question on the motion.
Okay, there's a question on the motion to cut off debate. That's what you're voting on, to cut off the debate. Clerk.
Voting in debate.
In debate.
End of discussion.
End of discussion. No more discussion on this item. Twenty ayes, 2 noes, motion passes. Okay, now to the main motion. If we vote, the way that I understood Commissioner Hill, is to uphold the veto. That will require a yes vote. If you are opposed to that, vote no.
And revert back to the budget, correct?
And that would be sending it back to the budget committee.
Make sure your motion is, again, quote the motion.
Mr. Hill, is your motion not to uphold the veto and
Bounce
send
it to budget committee.
the
Should
tax
know that.
levy? Yeah. Okay, everybody understands what we're voting on?
So if you vote yes.
If you vote yes, it goes back to budget, and the veto is upheld. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Right.
21 ayes, 1 no, motion passes.
All right. This is the windfall. This is the windfall for this year. Every year we've been borrowing from Peter Page Bond. We've been struggling, acknowledging as a county that we have a dissipating tax base. For the last 8 years, we've not had any significant industry jobs and a potential for revenue for this county. And we know the property tax is seemingly going down. So while this is a windfall, we need a longer range plan. I mean, we can enjoy what we're going to get for the next year or so out of the debt service. But it still remains that Carter County is on an unsustainable course to prevent tax raises in the future. And if we don't realistically look at that and consider it in whatever goes before and in our planning for industry or whatever we hope to get into this county, we're going to lose in the long run.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
1 minute before we adjourn, we've got a little housekeeping to do, and then we will adjourn. Reminder, the budget committee meets 6 p.m. the 13th, which is next Monday. We will postpone the regular commission meeting from the 20th to the 27th, beginning at 6. Prior to that meeting, beginning at 5, there will be a public hearing on whatever comes out of the budget committee. So I advise each of you and encourage each of you to be at the 13th meeting, so you'll understand what has transpired. Commissioner Ward.
Our education meeting was the 13th, and to enable everybody to come to that meeting, we'll change that to the 20th.
Okay, we'll get a public notice out in the morning.
Chalk Highway did the same thing, we're at the same predicament.
Commissioner Cole.
Yes, we'll have the meeting in here.
The meeting will be in the courtroom. Public is no, it will be public. Now I will accept a motion for adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Peace out.